second session of the seminar. It's a great pleasure to invite Her Excellency Datin Paduka Sri Rosmah Mansor, wife of the Prime Minister and patron of the International Seminar on Autism 2014, to deliver her keynote address. Please welcome Her Excellency Datin Paduka Sri.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to all of you. Excellencies, First Ladies from Republic of Sudan, Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Kyrgyz Republic, Republic of Albania, and Kingdom of Morocco. Excellencies, High Commissioners, Ambassadors and wives, distinguished delegates and speakers, honored guests, members of the media, members of Bhakti, ladies and gentlemen. Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD. Please settle down because you are distracting my concentration. I got a good excuse. Tolong tutup pintu tu boleh tak? Depan tu. Sebab saya nampak orang lalu lalang, susah. I got a very poor concentrating power. I got that disorder. Tolong tutup. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD, is a term that is unfamiliar in many societies, let alone being understood. It is even unheard of in some societies. And this lack of awareness has led to misperceptions about the disorder and intolerance of people living with autism. This is unfortunate because autism is not a tragedy, as articulated by a man who has lived with autism for 21 years. Allow me to quote him. It's been a long struggle. I'm 21 now, and my life is pretty normal, with the occasional speed bump. I still have my days where it all resurfaces, but give me a moment or two and it's all good. I don't like to be in large crowds too much, and at times I'm a little uneasy meeting new people, but it falls right into place easily. To him, ladies and gentlemen, autism is not a disability, but simply a different way of thinking for most everyone else. Ignorance, on the other hand, is a real tragedy, as sadly reflected in the words of a girl with autism. Needless to say, I was misunderstood by neighbor kids and at times laughed at. Social situations with them were most often awkward. A mother of a girl with autism said, she knows she's different. Kids at school let her know every day she has been cyber-bullied and has suffered from depression. She has cried many times and asked, why did God do this to me? Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, people who do not understand autism often misconstrue it as mental illness, learning disability, or unruly behavior. And they often see the children as selfish, slow, distant, and odd. They do not understand that those with ASD have difficulties with communication and find social contact disturbing. Lacking the social instincts of caring and sharing, not talking and playing or making friends, these children are lonely and never certain of what is happening around them. They cannot make choices or express themselves. And more often than not, children with ASD are left alone in the corner to indulge in self-stimulatory behavior, which is often repetitive. The strain of living with autism in a world that's largely ignorant of the problems leads to higher levels of anxiety, depression, as well as suicide. Studies on individuals with autism highlight the enormous struggle that they have to face daily in trying to lead a meaningful and productive life. Accessing appropriate public education and post-high school is often difficult, while gaining employment is almost impossible in most countries. Lack of awareness is a very serious issue. Advanced as we are, compared to the ancient world of mysticism, there are still societies, particularly in the developing world, see autism as bad karma for the past wrongdoings of either the individuals themselves, their parents, or their families. It is no wonder that children with autism are often ostracized in the misconception that the disorder could spread to them and their children. While in certain countries, the stigma of autism is so intense that many families of children with developmental delays live in denial and will intentionally avoid the diagnosis of ASD, while in some societies, families have to constantly struggle with negative associations and prejudices when the children's behavior are perceived as poor parenting and even child endangerment. Cultural practices in some societies also make early diagnosis difficult. In societies which discourage eye contact, children with ASD who are lacking in eye contact and have difficulty in speaking are diagnosed late. In some societies, the belief that a male child begins speaking at a later age than girls, unfortunately, also contributes to the late detection of such disorder. This is predominantly more common in boys than girls. In Malaysia, late development of speech is tolerated as berat mulut, or literally translated as heavy mouth. It's not the lips are heavy, but they speak at a later stage or a later age, so they say heavy mouth. Thus, children with ASD may be missed early. Late or poor detection due to lack of awareness has resulted in significantly low prevalence of, particularly in developing countries. A pilot study using standardized methodology and instruments conducted by the University of Hong Kong in collaboration with the University of Cambridge Autism Research Center and Cambridge Institute of Public Health suggests that autism in China is currently underdiagnosed. I'm not singling China. We are also suffering from the same problem. The same is probably true in Malaysia. The last study conducted by the Ministry of Health in 2004 revealed a rate of 1 case in every 600 births. Epidemiological studies using more advanced and validated techniques would probably reveal rates more comparable to Western countries. The lower prevalence rate of autism in Malaysia and the other developing countries does not mean the problem is any less serious. Ignorance is definitely not a bliss. As Aldous Huxley, author of the book Brave New World, said, facts do not cease to exist just because they are ignored. So I must tell you this secret. Diversion. People have settled down, so I can tell a few jokes. This morning, my husband asked me, what's the rate of autism in Malaysia? I hesitated. He said, do you know? Because you are the one who's really interested in autism. I said, darling, the latest statistic we got is 2004. Then he said, what are the ministries doing? I don't know, you ask them. So, I'm not criticizing, but that's the reality, that the latest data that we've got on autism in Malaysia is 2004. So you better do something about it quickly before the Prime Minister asks you. You should thank me for ticking you. On the contrary, low detection because of lack of awareness is a tragedy not only for the child with autism, but also the family, country, and the world at large. It is preventing many children from receiving early intervention, which has been proven to help them develop optimally. As Goethe said, there is nothing more frightful than ignorance in action. A parent of a child with autism once said, "I thought I would have to teach my son about the world. It turns out I have to teach the world about my child." It is my hope that the seminar will provide a better understanding and acceptance of persons with autism. In turn, it will reduce misinformation and stigma and help in improving the outlook, perception, attitude, and treatment for them. As Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the cure for ignorance is to question. So ladies and gentlemen, please question after this, okay? I think you can even question the first ladies, I'm sure. Ladies and gentlemen, overcoming ignorance is imperative because ASD is the fastest growing developmental disorder today. Globally, there has been a 20 to 30-fold increase in the prevalence of autism since the first population studies were conducted in Europe in the late 1960s and 70s. It is estimated that the prevalence rate of autism in Europe and USA now is 1% of their population. In countries where awareness is higher, detection and reporting are much improved, thus facilitating better planning and implementation. And for instance, in the United States, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, reported in March 2014 a 30% increase in the prevalence of autism over a period of 2 years. Alarms were raised about a possible public health crisis. The prevalence rose from 1 in 88 children in 2012 to 1 in 68 children in March 2014. There are now calls for a national plan of action to address urgent and long-term public health needs of ASD. In the United Kingdom, the prevalence rate is 1 case for every 66 births, and a 56% increase of children with autism has been reported in the last 5 years. More worrying is the prevalence rate of 1 in every 38 children in South Korea. The increase in the prevalence of ASD cannot be ignored. However, it is not just about numbers, but the will to look for the answers as well as fulfilling the needs of the people behind the numbers. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, William Hazlitt, the famed English writer of humanistic essays, once said, "Prejudice is the child of ignorance." In Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte wrote that prejudices are most difficult to eradicate from the heart, whose soil has never been loosened or fertilized by education. They grow there, firm as weeds among stones. Therefore, we choose to continue being ignorant about autism. The consequences is extremely tragic. We should learn to use all the research findings and good practices from around the world to improve the quality of life for people living with autism throughout their lifespan. We must not forget that autism is a lifelong condition. With the increasing trend in prevalence, we can anticipate a larger number of adults with autism. As they move on the spectrum of major life phases, the necessary support and treatment also change. Research shows that intervention before the age 3 years can bring about transformative outcomes and can reduce lifetime costs by 2/3. In the second phase, parents and caregivers should be helped to build education and treatment programs to enable children and adolescents to reach their fullest potential. In the third phase, we should ensure that every adult with autism has access to services and supports that maximize independence and secure the highest quality of life. The quality of life depends not only upon the foundation that is provided in childhood, but also on ongoing support that are specific to the educational, medical, social, recreational, and employment needs of the individual. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, research on the brain shows the earlier the intervention, the better the outcome will be. If we are going to make a direct and meaningful impact in the lives of children with ASD, reducing the average age of diagnosis must be a priority as we move forward. From my visits to several centers for children with autism, I observed that early intervention encompasses a comprehensive range of services, which include early identification and diagnosis, program planning and service delivery, as well as the evaluation of the effectiveness of these services. Support and education for families are integral to the early intervention program. As I said before, parenting a child with autism is not an easy task, and many experience high levels of stress, particularly when they are accused of being the cause of their children's predicament or labeled as bad parents for not seeking services or hiding their children due to shame or embarrassment. Research reveals that the rate of divorce is 24% amongst parents of children with ASD. And this is significantly higher than the 14% in couples that do not have children with autism. Spouses who are left to take care of the child after cracks in the marriage appear rise to the challenges in many ways. And I know of one mother, a chartered accountant, who gave up her career to become director of a center for children with autism. Another went through a harrowing experience when she and her child were abandoned by a totally irresponsible husband who was not, I'm not saying you all men, it happens in other countries, who was not willing to work on keeping the marriage together for the sake of their child. Already overwhelmed by feelings of grief, anger, and frustration, she was exhausted trying to find affordable accommodation and work that is flexible enough to suit her needs to take care of her child. For families, there is a continuous struggle in trying to understand autism and how to access services and support for their children. Preparing and empowering them for the challenges that are in store will make a tremendous difference to all involved, including parents, siblings, grandparents, extended families, friends, and society as a whole. Parents should be acknowledged as experts on their own children, as they are the ones who spend most of the time with them. Empowered parents will be able to plan a better future for their own children. The children will grow up with the best care possible as parents understand autism better and know where to get assistance. There are many inspiring and heartwarming stories told by devoted and courageous parents who find greater strength and love in their marriage when they embrace the differences that make their child that much more special. In the long run, empowering parents means less government spending for services on autism. This one my husband likes. Depending on the severity, the cost of providing care for each person with autism through his or her lifespan in the United States ranges from 1.4 million to 2.3 million USD. An estimation by Autism Speaks puts the total cost to the United States at a staggering 126 billion USD per year in providing services and support for individuals with autism. In the United Kingdom, the lifetime cost of providing care for each person ranges from £917,000 to £1.5 million, totaling about £34 billion per year to the country. We have yet to carry out similar research on the economic costs in Malaysia. I have no doubt at all, judging from the experience of the United States and the United Kingdom, that the costs will be similarly high. Looking at the economic costs, the difficulties faced by individuals with autism and their families are even worse in the third world countries, where other problems such as infectious diseases and malnutrition take precedence. And in these countries, providing basic healthcare and education for normal children is already a heavy burden. In war-torn countries and conflict situations, providing healthcare and special education for those with disabilities such as autism is a low priority. And to achieve success at all stages, intervention must be part of a national plan that ensures every family from every community has access to quality, affordable healthcare, treatment, and services across the lifespan of the person with autism. Autism knows no racial, ethnic, or socio-economic boundaries, and no effort should be spared to reduce disparities in awareness and access to care. A comprehensive strategy must include inputs from the research community, policymakers, educators, and caregivers to cover a wider range of issues. These include the training of skilled personnel, such as psychiatrists, psychologists, pediatricians, therapists, and early interventionists, as well as developing policies on insurance, tax exemptions, tax incentives, and funding for research and evidence-based treatment. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my interest in autism came about when I visited a center for children with autism in Malaysia in 2012, managed by a non-profit organization. And I could see their good intentions to give the best to the children, and I truly commend their efforts. However, I realized that they had insufficient resources and facilities. Learning environment at the center was not conducive to the children's development. The facilities were inadequate compared to centers such as the Innova Center in San Francisco and Tree House in London that I had visited. And it is for this very reason I am extremely determined to set up a center that can provide them with the best and conducive learning in environment, inshallah. Whatever the Prime Minister had declared this morning, announced this morning, I didn't know anything, okay? I didn't whisper to him, I didn't say anything. It is out of his, gesture, and maybe part of his transformation program. I also realized that many children with autism are not receiving appropriate public education and will be left behind even if they have high cognitive abilities in mathematics and science and exceptional talents in the performing and visual arts. They are also deprived of comprehensive early detection services. Of the estimated 13,500 children with ASD, only 2,600 are enrolled in government special education schools or in the integrated and inclusive programs of the mainstream in primary and secondary schools. The majority of them attend community centers for children with special needs operated by the Social Welfare Department of the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. Others attend centers belonging to non-profit organizations or private enterprises which are beyond the means of ordinary families. The Malaysian National Autism Society reports an increased intake by 30% in their center, and the waiting list keeps getting longer and longer. Learning from the experience of others, we decided to establish a center which provides early intervention to help children with ASD develop their fullest potential and to prepare them for mainstream primary school education. Work on the Autism Center has started in Kuala Lumpur with generous funding from the government amounting to about $9 million. Here I would like to thank the government. It is expected to be ready and operational in 2015. My heartfelt gratitude goes to the Prime Minister, His Excellency Datuk Sri Najib Tun Abdul Razak, whom I couldn't share the rostrum with, for the staunch and unwavering support that he has given to this project and to this international seminar. In planning for the center, we involved not only professionals but also parents because of their dedication and willingness to commit their time and energy for the center. The demand from parents has been tremendous, ladies and gentlemen. Since the center will start as a pilot project, we will have to limit the numbers. When proven to be successful, we will roll out the initiative to other states in the country, inshallah. This center will be known as Permata Kurnia. Permata literally means jewel, signifying that children are the jewels of the nation. While Kurnia means a special gift. We chose the word Kurnia because these children are special gifts for us to accept them as they are and to nurture them to the best that we can. We have the power to unlock the potential and nurture them into wonderful, productive citizens who contribute their strengths to society. The Permata Kurnia is part of the Permata program that I had initiated 6 years ago. The Permata program is a multi-pronged approach aimed at giving children a head start in life through quality early childhood education and care, as well as identifying and nurturing the different talents, excuse me, talents with the optimum potential. In line with the Convention on the Rights of a Child, we view all children as precious, and no children should be left behind, especially in education. Thank you. Children are the most valuable asset to the country. Their holistic development is vital to the growth and productive performance of a nation. A multi-pronged approach in education and intervention services will, in the long run, help to alleviate future health problems and the many social ills plaguing today's youth. Excuse me. The Permata Kurnia Center will provide 3 types of programs. The first is for 150 children with mild autism aged between 4 and 6 years. And each child will be assessed on his strengths and needs. An individual education plan or IEP is then drawn up to meet the child's learning objectives. The progress of the child will be continuously monitored and documented. Parents form an integral part of the IEP team, and their inputs and decision-making is crucial. The second program is for another 150 children aged 2 to 4 years who manifest early signs of autism. They will attend 3-hour intervention session per week for 40 weeks with their parents or guardians. An individual family plan is drawn up for each child, targeting his or her learning needs. I water now. Oh, sorry. Excuse me, I slept at 4 o'clock. The plan is to be drawn up for each child, targeting his or her learning needs, and provides parents with caregiving techniques that can be applied at home. With this plan, parents will be empowered to give the best care for their children and maintain the well-being of the family, including a harmonious marital relationship. The third program is community awareness and training programs. The center intends to play an active role in educating the public and enhancing the sensitivity of the community towards supporting the needs of individuals with autism as well as the needs of their families. We are confident that as the level of awareness grows, the community will band together to tackle the issue of autism with better acceptance of these children and their families by society. Workshops and short courses will also be conducted for educators, therapists, parents, and the public on various aspects of autism. The curriculum will take into account the multilingual and multicultural aspects of our society. Modules to train teachers and therapists are being developed and will also encompass parental education and support. We aim to equip teachers with the best knowledge and skills so that all children will benefit from the establishment of the center, and not only those enrolled in Permata Kurnia. Autism Speaks of New York, who has vast experience and networking in this area, has agreed to collaborate to ensure that our approach is evidence-based and in line with good international practices and quality standards. We stress quality because anything worth doing should be done right from the very start. To quote Mahatma Gandhi, it is the quality of our work which will please God and not the quantity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, history suggests that many individuals whom we would today diagnose as autistic have contributed profoundly to our art, mathematics, science, and literature. Einstein is believed to be one of them, and another example is Dr. Temple Grandin, Assistant Professor of Animal Science at Colorado State University. She was almost institutionalized during her childhood. She is credited for thinking in pictures. Another well-known person with autism is international best-selling author Donna Williams, who also offers counsel to parents and people with autism. And closer to home is Penang-born Delwin Chia Win Lung, aged 9 years, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 5. He is a talented artist with a collection of more than 50, mostly black and white artwork of animals, jungle scenes, cowboys, cartoon characters, and superheroes with themes far beyond his age. His talent has been recognized by the internationally renowned organization Stroke of Genius in New York, which has only 50 SAVA members worldwide. Therefore, the ultimate goal of parents, we must congratulate him. Therefore, the ultimate goal of parents, educators, and professionals who interact with children with autism is to unlock their potential to become self-reliant, fully integrated, contributing members of society. No talent will be wasted, and some with exceptional abilities will flourish. We have the power to unlock this potential by implementing an effectively structured intervention that takes the development of the whole child into account, and children with ASD can grow beyond their limitations and develop into productive citizens. All we have to do is see through those limitations and view them as the bright kids that they really are. We should not allow them to be labeled and restricted by their diagnosis. As Chia Guan Kyong, father of Delwin, said during his son's art exhibition, "I don't consider autism a major handicap which parents should be ashamed of. With this art exhibition, I hope to motivate parents to accept their child with autism and help the child to develop and grow in a normal environment. It will bring awareness to the public that a child with autism is not a liability, but an asset to society as well as to the country." As I said earlier, this is very much in line with the nation transformation agenda of optimizing the human capital development in our beloved country, Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, in compassion lies the world's true strength, said Gautama Buddha. We may have to work harder, but let us encourage their strengths, improve their weaknesses, and be proud of their successes, the way we would with any child. That is our primary goal. As Confucius said, it does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. Let me end by urging all of you to take advantage of the seminar to share your experiences, exchange ideas, fostering closer relationships, and creating new partnerships in exploring innovative possibilities in dealing with this challenging and complex issue of autism. It is my sincere hope that the seminar will yield useful information that will benefit the development of the Permata Kunia Center and the thousands of children with autism and their families, as well as provide answers that will lead to greater societal acceptance of people with autism. We should not look at ignorance in a pejorative way, but rather as a chance to grow in knowledge, because that is how science advances. As Benjamin Franklin said, Being ignorant is not so much a shame as being unwilling to learn. So all the best in your deliberations for the next 2 days. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Her Excellency Datin Paduka Sri. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are also privileged to have with us 5 esteemed First Ladies at a special occasion called Voices of First Lady. To moderate the session, I shall now call upon Yang Berbahagia Professor Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Sharifah Hapsah Said Hassan Shahabuddin to moderate the session. I shall now invite all the First Ladies from the Republic of Sudan, the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, the Kyrgyz Republic, Republic of Albania, and the Kingdom of Morocco to take their seats on the stage. I'll hand over the session to Yang Bahagia Prof.
Yeah? Can you hear me? Okay. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special session featuring the voices of First Ladies who will share with us their country experiences. As we know, First Ladies have very powerful influence. When they dedicate their time and energy to issues of concern to the people, they can really move mountains in areas such as health, education, environment, empowerment of women, and of course, development of children. They are able to bring to the forefront issues that sometimes remain in the back burner and become a tragedy because of ignorance. As you saw just a few minutes ago, we see this very often in our First Lady, Datin Paduka Sri Rosmah Mansor. And you only see this morning her passion unleashed. But for those of us who work with her very closely, we have to, and I put this in inverted commas, we have to suffer her passion. Thus, we are very fortunate and very much honored to have with us 5 First Ladies who have actually traveled very, very far to be here with us and to share their experiences on autism, a disorder that is very much misunderstood. And we know for sure that they can unleash a lot of potential in their countries. May I first call upon Her Excellency Mrs. Fatima Khalid Ahmad Al-Bashir, wife of the President of the Republic of Sudan, who is very active in welfare and charitable activities in her country, to share her work on autism. Her Excellency.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أختي الكريمة دانية السري رزمي منصور، حرم السيد رئيس وزراء ماليزيا. الإخوة القائمين على أمر هذا السيمينار حكومة وشعبا بماليزيا، الحضور الكريم، أعضاء هذا السيمينار المهم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أنتهز هذه السانحة الطيبة لأحيي القائمين على أمر هذا السيمينار الذي يركز الاهتمام بشريحة نتداعى جميعا لرعايتها بحكم الحق الأساسي الإنساني والعقيدة التي ننتمي إليها حتى تنال حقها في الكفاية وتنيل كل حقوقها الإنسانية والأخلاقية الموطرة في القوانين والاتفاقية الدولية. لقد سبق السودان الاتفاقية الدولية في إثبات حقوق الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة بإصداره قانونياً وطنياً للمعاقين عام 2009، واعتمد الاتفاقية الدولية لحقوق الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة وصادق عليها في إبريل من ذات العام. وبموجب القانون القومي للمعاقين تمت إعادة تشكيل المجلس القومي للمعاقين في أكتوبر 2010، دمج المعاقين في المجتمع وجعلهم قوة فاعلة، والمجلس مختص بوضع السياسات والخطط والبرامج، وله أفرع بولايات البلاد المختلفة. كما اهتمت الدولة في بلادي بدعم آليات المجتمع المدني العاملة في هذا المجال، اقتناعاً منها بضرورة تعزيز العمل المجتمعي لانخراط بكل آلياته في الأنشطة الراعية وداعمة لهذه الشريحة الهامة في المجتمع. وفي إطار خفض معدلات الفقر بذلت الدولة في بلاد جهوداً كبيرة لضم الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة في محور المبادرة الاجتماعية الوطنية للحد من الفقر، والتي تقوم على الدعم المباشر بتمليك المشاريع الصغيرة بالإضافة للقرض الحسن لأسر الأطفال ذوي الإعاقة. وقد وضعت الدولة خططاً مستقبلية تعمل في إطارها على إنشاء أكاديمية عليا للتوحد تتكون من مدينة متكاملة في مساحة 20 فدان، وتضم المدينة وحدات سكنية لأطفال التوحد وأمهاتهم، وحديقة حيوان، ومزارع للأسماك، ومزارع إنتاجية، بجانب المطلوبات الأساسية للتأهيل من إدارات للمناهج والحرف والتدريب الذاتي والمهني والأكاديمي لرفع بناء قدرات أطفال التوحد بالسودان. وحيث تبلغ التكلفة هذا المشروع 16 مليون دولار، وقد تم توفير الأرض باعتبارها أهم مكون محلي. أخيراً نعبر عن سعادتنا بتداعي الأمم لخدمة هذه الشريحة، مما يؤكد على سيادة القيم الإنسانية التي تدعمها كل الشرائع والقوانين. نتمنى التوفيق والسداد لأعضاء هذا السيمينار تحت قيادتكم الحكيمة، وأن يخرج بتوصيات تحقق الأهداف المرجوة الداعمة للجهود الوطنية لخدمة شريحة ذوي الإعاقة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Thank you for sharing with us what the Republic of Sudan and the government is doing for children with autism. Now it's my pleasure to call upon Her Excellency, Madam Shiranti Wickramasinghe Rajapaksa, the First Lady of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, who has a very strong background in social and humanitarian work, particularly in empowering women in post-conflict Sri Lanka. At many international meetings, she has spoken on the role of women in peace building and development and consistently raised issues on the advancement of women in society. With a strong background in child psychology, Her Excellency has a strong commitment to early childhood education. She chairs a special program called Kaltan Suva Udana, which is dedicated to children with special needs. And more now, the focus is on children with autism. Let us hear her voice.
Ayubowan, Her Excellency Rosmah Manzoor, First Ladies, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I consider it a great honor to me to be in this beautiful city of Kuala Lumpur to address this assembly of the inauguration of seminar on autism. I'm grateful to Madam Manzoor and the organizers for providing me the opportunity to speak to you on a subject that is close to my heart. The theme for the discussion, autism, is not a tragedy, ignorance. It captures the importance of awareness, creation to avoid the disadvantages forced by those affected. As an early childhood educator, I strongly believe that every child has a right to develop her full potential. This also appeals to children with special needs such as autism. Mainstreaming professional care and attention to those valuable groups through the international seminars are important in this respect. Hence, the need of the hour is to provide the voice of the special group of human beings who could learn to fulfill their social role within the community with love and understanding and guidance. Ladies and gentlemen, the extent of these conditions, the worldwide calls for every action to create awareness, to make available the necessary professional care for every child in need. Early diagnosis of the condition will lead to timely treatment, which would enable the child to cope with the day-to-day activities, guiding more confidence and independence. It will often assist the parent or the caregiver to identify the special characteristics and talents that could be developed in a child with autism. It is well known that some of the most creative persons that lived in the world did fall within the spectrum of autism. Therefore, most important, the spread of of the knowledge on the condition could assist the prevention of social isolation of the child. Such assistance will also avoid the social stigma attached to persons with special needs, which is still extending the most of the countries we represent. Ladies and gentlemen, addressing autism spectrum disorder, it is a multitask challenge that required the collective effort among the countries. Hence, on the international of the platform to work together with professionals of education, social activities, health, charity, and voluntary organizations of domestic level will only bring the desire of expectations. We need to be mindful that autism spectrum disorder is a condition which manifests in early childhood and which lasts throughout the lifetime of the individual. The condition could bring economic hardships to families given to the lack of affordable care, often exciting the developing countries. Facilities such as specially trained teachers, autism children in the stimulating environment to learn social languages and other skills to face the world as a confident individual still await people to our societies. The facilities that are available are often out of the reach of the families with limited resources. Ladies and gentlemen, most important, a child with autism needs to love and expectance of the family, as well as that all the society break the barriers or they achieved his full potential. We are parents, as responsible individuals in the committee needs to make sure that the treatment meant out of the society towards such as individual should be worse than the difficulties brought about by the disorder of itself. The family should be made aware that they are not alone and need not suffer to silence, but help is available. Creating awareness is an important step towards the treatment of the diseases, as well as assisting the families to cope with the condition. I joined the rest of my country in the celebration of the World Autism Awareness Day on 2nd April, which brought us one step closer to our intended goals. The action taken by Sri Lanka to assist individuals with autism include carrying out of the awareness programs and setting up of the pilot project, the teachers and the other professionals with proper training. However, there is much to be done as we have only just begun the fight against autism. Autism spectrum disorders is not confined to be particular geographic and region or society. The research on the condition also needs to be stepped up to bring about the better treatments. Let us join hands today to address these growing issues and search for better treatment and care for one of the most valuable groups of people. Before I conclude, I draw your attention to the very apt words of Marie Curie, the famous French physicist and chemist. Nothing is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may not be feared. Having said that, I would like to express my appreciation to the organizers of the seminar once again for this timely exercise to create awareness of autism spectrum disorder. Thank you.
Thank you, and we share with you that it is not late to start, and start by creating awareness, particularly to the practitioners, the teachers, and the parents. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure now to invite Her Excellency Dr. Raisa Atambaeva, spouse of the President of the Kyrgyz Republic, who has a very strong academic background in public health. She's an associate professor at the Institute of Epidemiology, Microbiology, and Hygiene. One of the problems we face, of course, Her Excellency, is that autism is very much underreported, and it is an epidemiological problem. So let us hear from Her Excellency about the experiences of Kyrgyz Republic in developing specialized services for children with autism.
Уважаемая супруга премьер-министра Малайзии госпожа Росма Мансур, уважаемые дамы и господа, уважаемые друзья, позвольте мне выразить слова искренней благодарности за теплое гостеприимство и приглашение участвовать в столь актуальном мероприятии. Его превосходительству, главе правительства Малайзии, господину Наджипу Разаку и организатору данного мероприятия, его супруге, госпоже Росме Мансур. Уважаемые дамы и господа, уважаемые друзья, прежде всего мне хотелось бы подчеркнуть особый характер рассматриваемой темы для всех присутствующих в зале и лично для меня. Я являюсь работником сферы здравоохранения и работаю в Кыргызской государственной медицинской академии. В рамках своей деятельности мы занимаемся вопросами охраны здоровья детей и подростков, где проблема детского аутизма в нашей стране остается также актуальной. Сегодня, по статистике, в Кыргызстане детский аутизм составляет всего лишь 0,04% на 10 тысяч детского населения. То есть сотни детей с аутизмом в нашей стране остаются без специализированной помощи. Это педагогическая, психологическая, дефектологическая и другие. Одним из важных моментов в социализации данного контингента населения является раннее вмешательство. Первый реабилитационный центр для работы с детьми, аутистами, был открыт в 2000 году на базе Республиканского центра психического здоровья Кыргызской психиатрической ассоциации и эффективно работал до 2006 года при технической поддержке международных доноров. В настоящее время с детьми, страдающими аутизмом и другими психическими расстройствами, работает ряд реабилитационных центров в городе Бишкек с охватом более 200 детей. По инициативе родителей в мае 2012 года было организовано общественное объединение под названием «Рука в руке», которые организовали Центр помощи детям с аутизмом в городе Бишкек. Но он не может обеспечить всех нуждающихся в помощи детей, особенно из регионов. Они занимаются лечебно-консультативной помощью и деятельностью, поскольку в их штате работают педиатры, психологи, логопеды, педагоги, дефектологи. При необходимости дети получают консультации детских психиатров по месту жительства. Так как в Кыргызской республике отсутствует государственная система помощи детям с аутизмом, то все перечисленные реабилитационные центры организованы либо по инициативе родителей, либо международных доноров. Отсюда крайне важным является организация центров, специализированных учреждений для детей с расстройствами аутистического спектра на государственной основе. Кроме этого, существуют проблемы по подготовке и мотивированию на работу в пределах Кыргызстана специалистов по лечебной педагогике. Это дефектологи, психологи, логопеды, детские психиатры. Данная проблема является общей для Министерства образования, Министерства социального развития, Министерства здравоохранения и требует межсекторального взаимодействия и обсуждения. В стране остро ощущается дефицит врачей всех профилей, в частности, детских психиатров. В целях решения актуальных проблем по оказанию помощи детям с аутистическим спектром 14 марта этого года Министерством здравоохранения был организован круглый стол на тему развития системы помощи детям с аутизмом с приглашением специалистов всех заинтересованных министерств и ведомств. В ходе обсуждения было принято решение, что в республике назрела необходимость развития системы оказания помощи детям с аутизмом. Для этого нужно создать сеть реабилитационных центров в системе образования и социального развития, так как это медико-педагогическая проблема, ориентированная на индивидуальную и групповую реабилитацию детей, страдающих аутизмом. Разработка и внедрение специальных услуг в области образования, доступность, организация специализированных групп, классов, инклюзивное образование как на дошкольном, так и на школьном уровне, создание комплекта нормативных документов. Учитывая то обстоятельство, что пока общепринятого подхода к коррекции раннего детского аутизма ни за рубежом, ни в нашей стране не существует, следует пользоваться действующим законодательством и существующими нормативными актами. В Кыргызстане необходимо провести следующие мероприятия. Обучение врачей первичного звена – это педиатры, семейные врачи, невропатологи, признакам аутистических расстройств с целью раннего выявления скрытых дефектов в умственном развитии, а также аутистических черт. Второе – проведение регулярного медицинского обследования детей и их оздоровления. Это профилактические осмотры детей в системе дошкольного и школьного образования, проведение санитарно-просветительной работы с целью повышения медицинской грамотности населения по вопросам аутизма, бесплатное обеспечение детей с задержкой умственного развития психотропными препаратами в рамках программы государственных гарантий. Я думаю, что правительство Кыргызстана будет заниматься созданием скоординированной системы реабилитации детей с аутизмом, обеспечивающей непрерывность и преемственность с другими службами – логопедической, психологической, педагогической, дефектологической и социальной. Данный семинар поможет всем нам совместными усилиями включить детей с аутизмом в активную общественную жизнь. Уважаемые дамы и господа, уважаемые гости, завершая свое выступление, позвольте выразить уверенность в том, что данное мероприятие послужит еще одним уверенным шагом взрослых в оказании практической помощи особым детям. Благодарю за внимание.
Thank you, Excellency, for reminding us and sharing the need to have interdisciplinary dialogue to unite services under different ministries in providing the best care for children with autism. And now it is my pleasure to invite our next speaker, Her Excellency Mrs. Odita Nishani, the First Lady of Albania. She is a civil engineer. I'm so glad we have doctors, we have engineers up on stage as well. She comes from a very illustrious family involved with Albania's independence. And she will share with us the work of the Albanian Children Foundation in developing and implementing a modern center for autism.
Your Excellency Datin Paduka Seri Rosman Mansor, First Lady of Malaysia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. At first, I would like to thank the hosts for the warm hospitality and perfect organization of this very important activity on the autism disorders. Autism is a neurobiological disorder that has appeared in many countries around the world. This phenomenon cannot be considered any longer taboo, and it cannot be kept hidden or stigmatized. But nonetheless, autism cannot be considered anymore only an issue of social sensitivity and pain either. The autism is becoming a concern in Albania as well. The autism phenomenon was very little known and recognized in Albania a few years ago, or not known at all by the Albanian public due to the lack of information and the wrong mentality. What was initially noticed in Albania was the autism cases were not just a few, and the general opinion thinks that the number of autistic children is increasing, although there is no study carried out which reports and offers a precise data regarding the overall numbers of the Albanian children suffering from autism. According to the reports, 1% of the Albanian children have shown signs of autism. Although there is not yet a proper study in Albania, the psychiatric doctors admit the concern about the autistic children increase. The sooner an autistic child is identified, the easier his treatment by psychiatrists becomes. Autism is a treatable psychic disorder. Many children are destined to remain throughout all their lives invalid and patient of institutions. Autism Speaks, the most powerful New York-based organization, was the first one to initially urge and support the dealing with the autism problems, its recognition, and means to treat it. Through the Albanian Children Foundation, it started the awareness campaigns, training and professional staff with contemporary methods, and supporting the treatment of autistic children in Albania. Actually, the Albanian Children Foundation mission is to stand closely by to the group that have special needs to the children suffering from serious health problems in the model center established for the autistic children. During the 5 years of its activity, it has offered and provided specialized help and assistance to 88 children suffering from various problems through its gold standard: treatment, diagnostic, and evaluation. The Autistic Children Center has provided services to about 1,000 children from 2009 until February of 2014. The main problem is the untimely and late diagnosis of the disorder. At the present day, Tirana, the capital of Albania, offers other means of service too, but the Albanian Children Foundation was helped and enabled similar centers to function in other cities such as Scutari, Elbasan, Fier, and it will soon expand in other cities as well. These services have made a difference in the lives of many children who suffer from this syndrome and their families. On April 2nd, 2013, on the World Autism Awareness Day, Albania joined the initiative of Light It Up in Blue by turning blue all the lights of the President's office building for the first time. During the awareness campaign of this year, it was the municipality of Tirana that lit up in blue the symbol of Albania's capital, the clock tower. Albania is actually drafting the national strategy on autism. A few months ago, upon the initiative undertaken by Albania, the Autism International Network of regional countries was founded in Tirana as well. The Ministry of Health and Civil Society are working on the National Register of Statistics. A society is judged how civilized it is by the way it deals and treats the people affected by autism and other problems of growing. Their achievements and integration into normal life must be the challenge facing the society in the future. Efforts are being carried out to have the long-term treatment of autistic children be recognized and reimbursed by the health system in Albania. The hospital institutions or the pediatric ambulatory one in the regional centers are beginning to feel the need of establishing and building the early diagnosing units of autism. The means to establish assistance center for individuals who fall in the autism spectrum of various age groups are being looked upon in all the cities by projecting units of specialized education in selected kindergartens and schools. The local government units are also exploring the means to have daily assistance center functioning for the autistic children older than 18 years. At the same time, priority is given to the full review of the social disability living allowance criteria for autistic children and their families, providing them with maximal support. While thanking once again the organizers for this important activity, I would like to express my best wishes for the continuation of this work in the future with passion and energy. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us how you created awareness on autism on World Autism Day in Albania, and also the services of the Children's Foundation, which have benefited many children and families living with autism. And now, may I invite and introduce Her Excellency, Madame Nabila Benkiran, wife of the head of government of the Kingdom of Morocco. She's the president of several organizations involved in social and charitable work. And let us listen to the state of autism in the Kingdom of Morocco and what she is doing to provide services for the children.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. أما بعد، معالي السيدة داتين بادوكا سيري رسمة، حرم سيد رئيس الوزراء، معالي السيدات الأوائل، معالي السيدات والسادة السفراء، سيدات والسادة الخبراء، سيدات والسادة الحضور الكريم، اسمحوا لي بداية أن أتقدم بالشكر الوافر للحكومة الماليزية وعلى وجه الخصوص لمعالي السيدة داتين بادوكا سري روسما حرم سيد رئيس الحكومة لتفضلها بتوجيه الدعوة إلي للمشاركة في هذا المحفل العلمي الهام المخصص لتسليط الضوء على القضايا المتعلقة بإعاقة التوحد. كما أوجه الشكر والتقدير للجهات المنظمة لأشغال المؤتمر. معالي السيدات والسادة، إن ضعف المعرفة بخصوصية هذه الإعاقة وقلة تسليط الضوء على ما يعيشه المعنيون وأسرهم لمدة عقود قد ساهم في تعميق المعاناة وحرمانهم من العديد من الحقوق، إلا أن تلك الأوضاع بدأت تخطو نحو التغيير مع تزايد ترافع الجمعيات الأسرية عبر العالم لدى السلطات العامة وإصرارها في حث الجهات الرسمية على التفاعل مع هذه القضية وإيلائها ما ينبغي من اهتمام. وفي هذا السياق انخرط المغرب وبجدية منذ سنة 2004 في عمل مشترك بين الحكومة والمجتمع المدني للنهوض بأوضاع ذوي التوحد، حيث يمكن تلخيص هذه الشراكة في عدة محطات كبرى، أذكر منها الندوة الوطنية حول التشخيص المبكر في دجنبر 2004، والتي تقرر خلالها اعتبار سنة 2005 سنة وطنية للتوحد. هذا وقد عرفت سنة 2005 اشتغال لجنة مشتركة متعددة الاختصاصات تضم ممثلين عن كافة القطاعات الحكومية وعن جمعيات الأسر المعنية بالتوحد. أسفرت السنة الوطنية للتوحد عن نتيجتين أساسيتين: أولاً إقرار الحق في التشخيص المبكر، ثانياً إنشاء التحالف الجمعيات العامة في مجال إعاقة التوحد بالمغرب، الذي كان آنذاك يضم 8 جمعيات وصار يضم 24 جمعية حالياً. ثالثاً انفتاح أكبر للمؤسسات التعليمية على الأطفال ذوي التوحد وتسجيلهم بأقسام الدمج المدرسي. وقد شكلت هذه السنة 2005 انطلاقة للتعاون الوثيق بين التحالف الوطني للتوحد والمؤسسات الحكومية وغير الحكومية من أجل تعميم الوعي بالتوحد لدى الأسر والمربين والأطر العاملة في مجال التوحد. من ناحية أخرى، تم سنة 2010-2011 إنجاز دراسة تشخيصية لواقع التوحد بالمغرب، وذلك في إطار شراكة بين وزارة التنمية الاجتماعية والأسر وزارة التنمية الاجتماعية والأسرة والمرأة والطفولة وتحالف الجمعيات العاملة في مجال إعاقة التوحد. ويمكن اختصار المحاور الكبرى التي استهدفتها التوصيات الناتجة عن الدراسة فيما يلي: أولاً تقوية وتعميم التشخيص المبكر، ثانياً تعميم اعتماد الدمج التعليمي لذوي التوحد، ثالثاً توفير المرافقة والخدمات الصحية، رابعاً تقوية الشراكات بين كافة الفاعلين، خامساً تطوير البحث والخبرات في مجال التوحد، سادساً تدعيم القوانين وأخلاقيات التدخل، سابعاً تطوير آليات التواصل بين الشركاء. كما لا يفوتني الإشارة إلى أن قضية التوحد بالمغرب قد عرفت دفعة قوية بفضل التفاعل بين مجهودات النسيج الجمعوي المغربي العامل في المجال وديناميكية الدورية التي أفرزت عدة قرارات جريئة، وأذكر على وجه الخصوص اعتماد الجمعية العامة للأمم المتحدة باقتراح من دولة قطر توصيات دجنبر 2007 باعتماد يوم 2 أبريل يوماً عالمياً للتحسيس بالتوحد، ثم اعتمادها للتوصية المتعلقة بالحقوق الاجتماعية والاقتصادية للأفراد والمجموعات والأسر المعنية بالتوحد. كما تعززت هاتان التوصيتان بصدور تقرير منظمة الصحة العالمية في أبريل 2013 بخصوص الإجراءات الشاملة للتكفل بذوي التوحد. بناء على ما سبق، قررت وزارة التضامن والمرأة والأسرة والتنمية الاجتماعية دعم مبادرة تحالف التوحد وتنظيم مؤتمر دولي الأول للتوحد بالمغرب المنتظر انعقاده يومي 29 و 30 أبريل من هذا الشهر، والذي حصل على دعم كافة الجهات المعنية وكذلك المجلس الوطني لحقوق الإنسان. ويشهد المغرب حالياً الحملة الوطنية الأولى للتواصل حول التوحد، وهي الحملة التي انطلقت فعالياتها بالندوة الصحفية يوم 1 أبريل الحالي، والتي عرفت وستعرف عدة محطات أساسية هي على التوالي: يوم رفع الأضواء الزرقاء Light It Blue الذي نظم بالمكتبة الوطنية بالرباط يوم السبت 5 أبريل، وتعبئة الصحافة وكافة وسائل الإعلام الرسمية وغير الرسمية لإلقاء الضوء على واقع التوحد بالمغرب والرهانات المرتبطة به. إعداد شريط وثائقي قصير حول واقع الأشخاص ذوي التوحد وأسرهم. تنظيم قوافل جهوية حول التوحد تستهدف حوالي 13 جهة بالمغرب، وستستمر أشغال هذه القوافل إلى متم شهر يونيو. وينتظر أن تسفر هذه الحملة التواصلية عن إعداد كتاب سيسمى الكتاب الأبيض للتوحد، الذي من المتوقع أن يكون رافعاً لولوج أحسن للأشخاص ذوي التوحد بالمغرب. سيدات والسادة، إن المغرب عازم على المضي في مسار دعم حقوق ذوي التوحد من خلال بلورة استراتيجيات وبرامج شمولية تضع الفرد المعني بالتوحد في قلب المعادلة، مع عدم إغفال إعمال مشاركة الفعالة والهادفة لكافة المعنيين من أسر ومنظمات وقطاعات حكومية. شكراً على حسن إصغائكم وأشغال مؤتمر موفقة، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. تريما كاسي. شكراً. السلام عليكم.
Thank you again for stressing the interdisciplinary effort to create awareness of early diagnosis and to provide medical services. But more importantly, you also stress the need for collaboration across all sectors and the need to look at laws and regulation. Ladies and gentlemen, all good things must come to an end. It is heartwarming to hear the voices of the First Ladies who have shared their interests in autism with us. They have also shared the initiatives of the governments of their countries, as well as by non-governmental sectors and by parents in addressing autism, services for children with autism. However, all of them talk about the need for the government to do more, to create awareness, to provide specialized services, health, education, support for parents and families living with autism. And all this require interdisciplinary input and inter-ministerial dialogue. As our patron Datin Paduka Sri Rosmah Mansur said earlier, children with autism can grow into productive adults. We have the power to unleash their potential. And I would like to end by quoting our Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Najib Razak, who said this morning It is a tragedy if we ignore the rights of every child to be successful. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll now close this special session and hand you back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Bahagia Prof, and all the First Ladies. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the morning session. Please join us for lunch that will be served at Perdana Hall for all the participants and for the VIPs at Hall 5. Please be reminded that the afternoon session will commence at 2:30 p.m. in this hall. Thank you.